Hey Dan, that was actually, I just got done saying that. I love that scene where Daemon helps his brother to the throne. It just showed how much mutual respect they still both have for each other after, everything that's gone on between them. All the drama.
And the act of Daemon placing the crown on Viserys after being accused of being power hungry and wanting the throne for himself, and then in the end he puts the crown on him.
Hmm.
Nice symbolism, guys.
It
Good job.
was. That whole scene was done really well.
It was so good. It was so good.
And that was another thing. The whole episode, I was just kind of waiting for the king to die.
All that stuff had to happen though. Like the king had to reaffirm everything. Be like, no, Rhaenyra's kid is actually gonna get Driftmark. Damon just slicing that dude's head off.
Yeah,
Just
he can keep his tongue.
yeah. He was rough. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
rough.
The man was looking like Two-Face.
He was a walking corpse, but I think that was the whole idea.
Viserys Dent over here.
He was having a hard time. Yeah, he looked like a zombie. Which definitely gives off those. Did he have leprosy?
Yeah, that was the
Vibe?
big question. Like, was he supposed to have leprosy or something? Because he had like all these holes in him and
Yeah,
everything.
he
He's
was
missing
he
an
was
eye.
literally rotting.
Half his face was missing. Like,
I mean, that's not what he dies from in the book, but he's also different in the show than he was in the
yeah.
book. Like in the book, he's very much like a Robert
Yeah, they
kind of king,
changed a few things about his death, I think, here.
which I think is fine because you had Robert in the show, so you didn't want to necessarily do Robert again. So I get the change with having him be different. Only time I felt bad for Allison. So I
Yeah.
think it's been a few years since the last episode, so I don't know.
Between the 6 years.
6 years between this episode and last episode.
Yeah. Yeah, when it opens up, I think it's Allison says like 6 years have passed or something like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, 6 years.
I also
Uh,
loved the imagery when they're all sitting down to dinner where Allison's on this side, Rhaenyra's on this side, and then in between them is a like big painting of the Red Keep in the background.
mhm.
Very nice.
I
Like that.
also like the fact that when the king sits down, you have that shot and his rotten face is on the side of Alicent and her family,
Yeah.
and like his true face on the
Is
side of Rhaenyra.
and Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um
And it shows the high towers are rotting the kingdom from within.
yeah. We literally see that it's so interesting. We see that Aegon is such a shithead. He is a terrible person.
Mm.
He rapes people. He's awful.
At least Alicent isn't okay with it.
She yeah, but she is because she pays that girl off, sends her on her way,
She
and
gave her the abortion juice.
which can really, really damage a person. It's really dangerous to drink moon tea. It fucked Lysa Arryn up. That's part of why her Sweet Robin is like so sickly because she drank moon tea after she banged Littlefinger because her dad made her, and it like fucked her up.
Maybe she had bad moon tea.
It's really hard to make correctly. Like
Exactly.
it's really easy to fuck
Look,
up. It's really
Rhaenyra had it, and all her kids seem fine. So, you know what? That maester must be all right.
That doesn't make it okay.
I never said it did. I'm just saying.
She literally that
is good.
No, you're just literally punishing the victim for what the perpetrator has done.
I know, I'm joking.
And she's doing the whole boys will be boys thing. Yeah, she's horrified by it, but she doesn't really
I was
do
talking about the
anything.
moon tea, not the victim. Just all right, moving on. Yes. Aemon is supposed to be just an awful person.
Aegon.
Well, Aemon is too. They're all awful people.
Now, arguably everyone in this show is not a good person, really, when you think about it. But then you have Aemond, One Eye, who is, I'm not gonna lie, a badass.
Yeah, he is.
He's a badass. He's a bad dude, but he's a badass. And you can tell he, like, admires Daemon. He admires him. There's that little moment at the very end of the episode where they set that rivalry up, too. Yeah. Which was so good. That was some great foreshadowing right there. No spoilers or anything, but just the two of them.
Aemon is the one with the eye patch. Alicent's son, the one who makes the strong joke. And then Aegon is the one who tried to bang Lucerys to-be.
Betrothed. Yeah.
No dialogue between characters, get to know who is who. Yeah.
I think with the kids...
With the kids, I think the only reason this episode was kind of there was so that you got to know the kids a little bit more. Because, I gotta be honest, I wasn't too blown away with this episode. It kind of felt a bit like a filler, but I think that's why it was maybe not filler, but I feel like they extended it too long. I think you should have had like the whole the king and his court meeting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then just fast forward a little bit and he's dead, and then maybe start that whole setup for next episode, because a lot of the stuff that did happen with that was all about the kids, because it doesn't really happen in the book. Alicent's whole deal is a little different. Not much different, but a little different in the books.
I think with the kids, what they're trying to do is they were trying to establish them in this episode, because I think in future episodes, you're going to see more of them and get to know them better as they become more involved in the story. As they're growing up, they're going to become more involved in the story, so you will get a better sense of who they are and what their deal is. But I do think that that's part of it, is to get a sense of who everyone is and who these people are growing up to be. And you've got this guy, Aegon, who is supposedly the king's trueborn son. Alicent wants him to be the king. He's the rightful king, this and that. And he's an awful person. He really is terrible.
Yeah.
And then you have Rhaenyra's son, Jace, is the oldest one. He is kind of like the Jon Snow of the story.
I mean, I guess they all are, because...
But I mean,
spoiler alert, they are indeed bastards.
He is honorable. He seems kind. He seems willing to compromise. All these things.
I kind of see that of all of like Rhaenyra's side of the family, though. Like that's why I think they had that, like comparison with Viserys in the middle, and you have this rotten side and this good side, where you see like Rhaenyra raised her kids properly.
Yeah.
And I honestly Viserys raised Rhaenyra properly. Maybe it was Rhaenyra's mother, actually, now that I think about it, just because Viserys kind of raised the other kids too, but that could have also been the corruption that Alicent and Grandpa Hightower have been pumping into them.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit. You just kind of see that, by all accounts, the heir to the throne should be Jace, regardless of his bloodline, because he seems to be the more level-headed, kind, honorable person, over Aegon, who is an absolute douche.
He would make the better king. But hey, Renly would have made a better king too. See what happened to him. So there's that. I did like the scene with Rhaenys in the court. Everyone's reaction in the court where Viserys just comes in. I know he didn't, but he might as well have just kicked in those doors.
Yeah.
And everyone just, oh shit.
Literally Otto Hightower standing there going, oh shit. He had the biggest oh shit face out of all of them. And then him and Alicent are looking at Vaemond, Valerion, and they're just like,
Did you know this was happening, guys?
Right,
What's going on?
Joffrey, his name is Joffrey because Laenor's lover that was killed was named Joffrey. And Laenor demanded that child be named Joffrey. That's why that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
That was the change that we agreed we didn't like. Was the whole ice and fire thing, and then Alicent hearing what Viserys was saying and interpreting it as him wishing Aegon to be on the throne instead of Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for that either. It's just like one more thing she can use to justify, where she can say, oh, well, Viserys said to me on his deathbed, blah, 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 blah. It takes away from
her being just a shit person.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't.
I'm going to say 50% shit person, but also 50% protective mother. Because there was a degree of her worrying that if Rhaenyra took the throne, then she would have Aemond and Aegon killed so that there would be no competition for the throne and all that.
I liked those as being the pure motivators versus this Song of Ice and Fire prince that was promised. Like,
it's going to lead to the same place, and it's not a huge change in the story.
No.
I don't like it. I don't hate it either. It's just whatever.
Yeah. I didn't hate it either. I don't know. I liked it.
You kind of have to have it in there because the whole Song of Ice and Fire dagger thing is not book canon.
Also, can we be super happy about Daemon doing a great eye roll when they were all praying?
Oh yeah.
Loved that. And he's just like,
his facial expressions are some of the best.
Matt Smith doesn't even have to say anything. He just has to look a certain way, and you just know what he's thinking. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely great. Rhaenys was great. Doesn't want to be on Rhaenyra's side, but as soon as Viserys sits down, she's like, "Let me just slip in here and throw Daemon under the bus." Yeah. Rhaenys is awesome. I love her. She's great.
She really is.
She's such a
she's such a factor in everything. She acts like she wants no part, but as soon as she does, shit happens.
Yep.
All the time.
I'm ready for Corlys Valerian to just come back in the next episode and be like, "I'm sorry I was away. I had a boo-boo. What's been going on, guys?"
They only slit my throat. Should have cut my head off.
Yeah,
Pull the Thanos. You should have aimed for the head.
Overall, I don't... Rhaenys is the old lady, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Overall, I wasn't disappointed with this episode. I actually quite enjoyed this episode.
I didn't mind it, but there's a lot of action that's going to happen. And I was kind of hoping that this would be the episode that kind of finished off our politics, and then we'd start heading into the action. But after this, I thought, okay, maybe next episode. But after watching the previews for the next episode, it's going to be more political drama, intrigue. And I'm just like, okay.
I'm here for that. I'm ready. I'm like, yes,
I
because
think it's
that's
just because I know what's to come. It was kind of like what season came out? 7 when Daenerys finally came over with her dragons or something like that.
mm-hmm.
I thought 5 and 6 were just forget the fact that it was just not canon, did not follow the books whatsoever. I thought they
Okay.
were kind of just boring and stagnant. But then the dragons came. I'm kind of getting in that feel with like the last episode was good. It was needed, the political. And like I said, I think this episode was good, but like okay, we can get into more of the action now.
Yeah, but all this
Give us some
stuff,
more of that Game of Thrones goodness.
but all this has to happen first before that stuff can happen.
I know, but I feel like they're dragging it out just a little too long.
I think it was important to establish who the kids are with each other now. Get the betrothal in there. You had to get the betrothal in there.
Yeah.
Um, Rhaenyra kind of still trying to compromise with Alicent, and Alice.
That's what I mean. Rhaenyra definitely learned from her father. Like she's trying her best to be trying to find some peace with Alicent and being the bigger person, apologizing.
Yep.
It almost seemed like Alicent was gonna be like, all right, we're good. And Viserys had to fuck it up.
I think the dinner was so good because it was just showing the folly of what Viserys has been trying to do this whole time is bring everyone together, keep everyone together, stop dividing everyone, and it like everyone just fakes it and pretends, and he buys into it, and it's still that way, and he like leaves thinking, all right, everything's good, they're gonna be friends again. And it's like, that's so far from what it is, dude.
Yeah. But
Um,
again, you gotta give Viserys like some credit. At least he's built up these relationships to the extent that like no one thinks of like overthrowing him or anything. He is still very much loved by everyone around him and his people.
I mean, I don't know if Alicent loves him very much.
I think she does.
You think so?
Yeah. To a degree. I don't think it's like, you're the only man for me type love, but I think I think she loves him to a degree.
Um, I mean, not a whole lot happened in this episode other than we still have everyone fighting over the fact that Rhaenyra's children aren't her own. But now that the king has passed away, everyone can be more out in the open about it.
That's what I mean. I think Viserys was kind of the cornerstone. He kind of held everyone together. And I think it was because, people, love and respected him enough that they weren't going to start some shit.
Either that or it was because he was the king, and if they started some shit, they'd get in trouble.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when has that stopped many people?
Um, Everyone has just basically been playing nice until he dies.
Yeah.
That's all anyone's been doing. And, well, Rhaenyra has just been trying to get her succession, like, affirmed, like, big time before he dies. And even still, no matter what.
I don't think the king necessarily passed at the end, but if you couldn't tell, it's coming very, very soon. Actually, in the next episode, we'll see, and it's pretty fucked up what happens when he dies.
Oh,
Yeah, and they're gonna do it because there was a line that kind of told me that that whole thing with him is gonna happen.
It was pretty much not word for word from the book, but pretty much word for word from the book that like, oh, that's that scene.
Yeah.
That's what's coming. Yeah, that's happening, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. That's why, and I guess another issue was it seems like it's just going to be about the high towers and stuff going on in King's Landing. We didn't see any of Rhaenyra, none of Daemon, none of the Valerians.
Well,
so it's just like I don't know. I really don't care about the high towers. Is that bad? I really don't care about Alicent as a character, or even Otto. They don't interest me.
Really?
Yeah, they really don't.
I think they're making them pretty compelling.
I just don't care about them as characters.
Is it because they naughty?
No, because it's not even like I hate them. It's not like they annoy me. It's just I'm bored with them. They're very one-dimensional characters.
I think they show. See, I think they show depth with Alicent at the beginning with the whole thing with the girl. She was obviously very visibly upset by the whole situation.
Yeah, she was, but it seems like it's just with Alicent, it's just been repeat. Okay, Rhaenyra, we're good. I hate Rhaenyra, but okay, we're good now that you said that. I hate Rhaenyra, and it's just like, oh, okay, come on.
I don't know is that necessarily that she
and they're trying to do like the compassionate mother who would do anything for her children, even going to extremes is paying off the serving girl who her son raped, and
I don't think that shows compassionate mother. I think that shows her
compassionate mother, and she'll protect her children no matter what.
Yeah,
and their rights. But I feel like then we had Cersei who just went like all in.
Well, that was what I was going to say is she in this episode is showing herself to go from I will protect my children to going into that kind of Cersei territory.
But you had Cersei who was just all in extreme, and then you have Alicent who kind of does, and it's just like boring to watch Alicent and her story.
I think it's because it's going to progress.
Maybe, like I said, the high towers. I got nothing. I'm bored of them. I don't care.
I'm just ready to see Otto come into his own and do stuff because he hasn't even done stuff yet.
Well, no.
So I'm ready. I'm patiently waiting for them to really unleash their inner douchebag.
I want more Rhaenyra and Daemon. They're just better characters. They're so much more interesting.
They are. They are more interesting people. I remember reading the book and really being more attached to Rhaenyra as far as like commiserating with the character goes, and just absolutely hating Alicent Hightower, like hating her.
But the problem is with them like flip flopping on her, like, okay, Rhaenyra, we're cool, and then no.
I think she was pretending. I don't think she was really all about it. I think she was shocked Rhaenyra said it, but I don't think she's really like.
But they haven't gone either way, so I don't love Alicent, and they haven't done enough for me to hate her. It's like outwardly hate her, so I'm just. I don't know. I'm over it. Just let's move on. I can't say it anymore. It's a snooze fest for me with them, and I really hope next episode is good, but I'm scared that it's just gonna be about them, and I'm gonna be so bored out of my mind with next episode.
Oh no! Oh no!
I don't care about any of those people on King's Landing except Aemon. Aemon looks like a badass. He's pretty cool. Fucking pirate Legolas over here. He really does look exactly like Legolas too.
He does kind of have some Legolas vibes. I don't know.
Galadriel has more personality.
I wouldn't.
When she's riding a horse, definitely.
Dan, I would not say that Galadriel has more personality. That's offensive. Ouch. At least Alicent can show emotion in a wide range in a scene.
Young Alicent did.
I thought she was
Old
great in that.
Alicent hasn't.
I
Done
thought
much
she
for
was
me.
brilliant in that first scene with the young girl where she was like trying not to cry and shit. I thought that was great acting.
I'm not saying it's bad acting. I think young Alicent was better.
There, Dan is just hating it. I'm sorry, I didn't hate it. I'm still into it. I'm still hook, line, and sinker. I was all about all the little conversations and the little tension build up and all the little things that happened. I was like, yes, I'm here for it. It's all build up. It's all character build up. Let's go.
I love the scene in the hall in the Iron Throne room, and then I I liked it. It was necessary with like the dinner and the children and stuff, and I love the imagery of the dinner and setting up the teams once again, the sides basically. But yeah, overall,
He's baby
relative.
Legolas. That's what she said. She goes, I was trying to figure out who he is. He looks like baby Legolas.
Yes, there was one scene where he had like a side shot of him, and I swear to God, looks just like Legolas.
That's so funny.
Like when he looks over at Gimli and says, "How about a friend?" When they're about to go in and fight, like
How about
scene for
side by
scene, it looked perfect. It's like, God damn, that's Legolas.
Yeah, they do look a lot alike. The conversations were not engaging like Game of Thrones was. I thought they were setting up quite a few little things, like with remember um the line in the preview where you were like, "Oh, that thing's gonna happen."
Yeah.
Well, in this episode, that character was talking, and admittedly, what he was saying did not sound interesting to me either. But then Allison was pretty much just like, "Thank you, that's enough. We've heard enough." Just cutting him off. There's little plot things set up, but I just can't follow them.
I really don't have a problem following them. I just think
It's taking too
there was a
long.
lot of stuff that was necessary in this episode because if you didn't read the books, you need to learn about the children. You need to get all this set up.
You had
But
to
if
have
you have
the
read the book, um,
you had to have the
it's kind
issue
of
with Driftmark.
redundant. Yeah, it's just this felt redundant for me.
I also the whole thing with Driftmark had to happen, and Rhaenys had to come out in front of everyone and kind of declare to be on Rhaenyra's side. That had to happen for reasons. Um, I'll see. This person is like, I enjoy Allison. I can't imagine the BS she's dealing with. Being a nurse for the king, seeing Rhaenyra having non-legitimate children. Her snap was awesome. She can't wait for more of it.
But see, that's the thing. She hasn't snapped yet, so it's just boring.
But I think she means snap in the sense of being rude
Oh
and
yeah.
harsh. I mean, if you do try to look at it from Allison's perspective, she married the king at 15. She did her job. She got trapped in the awfulness of being a wife and what being a woman means. And then you've got your best friend who is going to be the queen and rule the kingdom, and she's had bastard children, and you know that they're bastard children. Um,
This is the equivalent to that one guy.
Yeah, the knife thing. She snapped in the last episode. She stabbed Rhaenyra.
Oh yeah, she did
She did
after
snap him.
Aemon lost his eye.
Yeah, she lost her shit over that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, last episode was a good episode. What was I gonna say? I can't remember now. It's going off on something, but
She wore green in the whole episode.
and Rhaenyra wore black.
Yes. Yeah, they were both wearing green and black throughout the entire episode in this one, too. Right, you had the kids fighting in the last episode, and now we've got to fast forward a few years, and now they're meeting each other for the first time in 6 years, and how's that gonna go? It's gonna be fucking awkward, man. And you have to establish who these kids are now, and... You know, Jace is learning High Valyrian. And the other one is really insecure about being a bastard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Aegon, who is just an arrogant toe rag in every way. And Aemond, who I think is just very hyper focused on being a warrior.
Yeah.
And he's a very hard dude.
Oh yeah.
They are, yeah, I think they are slow burning on her. I would agree with that. I would think that's... I think that's accurate. Alicent kind of broods on things and sits on things. Rhaenyra is much more reactive.
Yeah.
Alicent's the kind of person that will just go, okay, fine then. And then 2 episodes later will just do some shit to you. Whereas Rhaenyra is gonna just like blow up in your face.
Yeah.
I think with that first where she was in green and the guys mentioned the green flame calling for war, then nothing. Well, she just made a statement. She was just making a statement of who she is and her identity. There was no reason to go to war over anything, but there soon will be.
Yeah. Even then, there's not really a reason other than they want it.
Yeah. Yeah, the reasons are pretty terrible when you think about it. From a realm perspective, what do you think the Starks are doing right now?
Fucking freezing their bollocks off.
Minding their own business.
Yeah.
Not knowing what the hell is going on.
Just chilling out. Maybe visiting the wall. Chilling in their saunas because they got hot running water.
Right, they're the only castle that's got hot running water. Mm-hmm. Well, in the walls, anyway. Starks are stressing about food for the winter. I don't give a fuck what's going on in King's Landing. What are we gonna eat?
Winter is coming. Eventually.
Right. Well, this fight for the throne is different. This is all about... The lesson of this fight is totally different than in Game of Thrones. This is all about familial infighting and how a regime like rots from the inside out and corrupts itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this story is about. It's not the Game of Thrones story.
Because Jaehaerys is what made the Targaryens and Westeros rise to the peak. Viserys kind of rode it out at the peak, and now comes the fall.
Part of it, yeah. And even Jaehaerys raising it up that high, he was a great king, but his family relationships were really terrible. And even his relationships with his children in the succession are the start of what leads up to the Dance of the Dragons. This whole thing is the start of it's the start of the fall of the Targaryens. It just is like downhill after all this shit goes down because everything's rotten from the inside. Everyone's grown too fat, too greedy, and just want what they want when they want it. And everyone else suffers for it. Game of Thrones is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like a lot of bit different.
Game of Thrones is a revenge story, basically.
There. That was annoying me, Lola. I'm sorry.
My name is Robb Stark. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like the characters were too static. I would have liked a little more Rhaenyra. I don't think we got enough of that.
Rhaenyra and Daemon. Daemon said like
2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said like 2 words.
He said say it. That's about it.
But I think we're going to see...
And he whispered that.
I think we're going to see a lot more of him later. I just think...
He's just like the best character you got going right now.
He is the best character. He is. He's the most fun to watch.
I don't know. I feel like this episode just... Another thing I didn't like was they're just like hitting you over the head with, oh, the king's really sick, he's gonna die soon. The king's really sick, he's gonna die soon.
Well, because that's how everyone is feeling right now. Everyone's like, yo, this motherfucker's gonna die. We gotta do shit because he's gonna die. We gotta put all our P's and Q's in a row. We gotta get it all together.
So many close-up scenes of his face skeletonified.
Yeah, they really wanted to horrify you with that, didn't they?
Yeah.
They really wanted to make him horrifying looking. Daemon does act a lot with his face. He doesn't... There are scenes where he just stands there and he doesn't have to speak, but you know what he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is true. He did say... He was in every scene and everything he said was with his eyes. He just made them faces and it was just like... Daemon knows this is bullshit. Daemon knows this is bullshit. And he's just kind of dealing with it.
But you said you were a lot like Alicent. That's why you like that character. I feel like I'm a lot like Daemon, and maybe that's why I like him.
I said I identified with Rhaenyra more.
No, I'm talking
they...
Yeah. Because he wanted to just leave and get away from the politics. Like, screw this. Let's go.
Mm.
That's what I would do. I don't want to deal with this. Are you kidding me? I got a dragon. These people are offering me a mansion. What else do I need?
I feel like I feel like the reason why, I don't know, maybe they seem... they didn't seem dull to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not... I don't know. I didn't think they were dull. I didn't
Not
think
to say that this episode was bad, but relatively speaking, compared to all the previous
other episodes
in this series.
Yeah, this was not like the high point of the series.
This was the low point for me so far.
I think this was just a necessary lull setup episode.
That's what I mean. And the disappointing thing is, it looks like next episode is going to kind of be that too.
I don't think so. I think. Well, I mean, they show things in the preview that like don't always necessarily happen in the next episode.
I guess we'll see.
Must be the excitement of the book that gets you to like it because you actually know what's going on. They are like Laenor in that they are out of politics, but they are like Alicent in that they just sit and take everything in and just mull it over and over.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't watch the previews. Well, okay, Dan, you don't watch the previews. Okay. That's not my fault.
I can't help it. I need to know.
Oh, I watch the previews because I'm like, yeah, I want to see what's going to happen next. Which part of the book are we going to get to? How far forward are we going to go? I don't really think it's that hard to follow. Like, I think even if you haven't read the book, I don't think it's that difficult to follow.
I really don't know personally. Like because
But I don't know because I've read the book. Maybe I don't know.
well, I read through. I kind of skimmed through. I didn't like read it in detail, but so I kind of know what's going on. But so far, I haven't watched a Game of Thrones show where I haven't read the book first, so I really can't comment on how hard it would be for a new person to catch the things because there's definitely a lot of like the symbolism that they show that plays a big role in figuring stuff out that you wouldn't get if you didn't already know what's going to happen.
So I watched the first season of Game of Thrones before I read the books.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not have a problem following what was happening and was able to predict stuff that was going to happen.
Oh, okay.
I'm that's why I'm just saying that I do have that perspective.
Okay. I'm just
That's all
saying
I
I
mean.
could definitely see how it would be hard because Game of Thrones is one of those where it's just so many characters.
There are a lot of
And when you
characters.
don't have those chapters dedicated to one character and getting the insight into that character, it's pretty challenging to figure out exactly what's going on with them.
I just got so sucked into everything and I just was like, yep, I got this. I didn't although I do think this show may be a little more difficult, say, than Game of Thrones because you have all these Targaryen names.
Yeah, I don't even know all the Targaryen names. You kidding me?
Dan says the show is easier to follow than the books.
Oh,
Um, I mean, yeah,
Rhaenyra wants throne. Alicent wants son on throne. Fight.
yep, pretty much. That's pretty much the plot.
Yep.
That is the plot. Alicent also says, "Daddy, help me put son on the throne."
Yeah.
And so Daddy says, "Okay."
Just be sure Damon's there. Brother, put son on
On
throne.
throne. Uncle, put me on throne. Oh, and we had to see that she also has had two babies named Viserys and Aegon
Yeah.
with Daemon.
Yep. So, I mean,
And Cyrax had eggs.
everyone's having babies.
Even the dragons. So we didn't get to see a dragon.
Would have been really gross if Alicent had another kid.
Yeah, ew. If Alicent was pregnant in this episode, ew.
More babies. Who gets the dragons now? Also, was anyone else kind of grossed out with the like alien birth pod that he ripped the
egg out
out of? And also smacking it with a hammer. I was like, he's gonna crack the egg. What if he cracks the egg?
of.
How many dragons have died that way?
I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool that it was kind of like lava, molten rock with a hard shell, and you pull the egg out.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
it was.
I was like, that's probably how they do lay their eggs because they gotta stay warm. Hot, 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 hot.
So, do you Do you think like that molten lava shell around it was like fluid from the dragon that solidifies, or do you think that they just like fart a torch of fire that melts the rock and then the egg plops in it?
Oh no, I think that's dragon goop.
Oh, okay.
I think that's dragon goop.
Okay.
It was a funky color. It was
Well,
a
no, I
it was
know,
a
but there
funky
was like rock on the outside they had to
yeah,
break open.
but
So,
it was
do
a
you think they like melt a big gouge in the rock of liquid molten rock and then plop the egg in? A little nest. Yes,
no
no.
no, because when the eggs melt,
They're dragon eggs.
yeah, I know they breathe fire, but they breathe fire. Valerian could breathe fire that could melt stone.
Yeah.
If he breathed on another dragon, it would burn that dragon.
Yeah, but the eggs are protected by the shell.
Yeah, but was protective is the shell.
I don't know. They're dragon eggs. Pretty protective.
I have a feeling. How do we know, Dan? I'm more intrigued that she's had, what, 5 kids and her mom had such difficulty. Just interesting to me. Never had a baby, so not sure if this is as weird as it seems to me. It is very interesting that she has had 5 children, having never wanted to be a mom, and now she has 5 children. Um, it all depends. It's not necessarily hereditary or anything, and you could have 2 kids and it could be totally fine, and then you could have an awful time with your third one. It kind of all depends.
Just luck, I guess. Sure, there
Yeah.
are other factors, but
I think I think some of that was dragon goop.
yeah, I'm sure it was.
I mean, maybe they like melt a little hole like kangaroos dig up dirt. Maybe
That's what I mean.
they
Melt
might
a
have.
little hole in the rock and make a little nest. Then the rock solidifies around it to hold it there. Then they
Could be.
hatch and break out.
Could be.
Why not?
Could a baby dragon break through rock?
Maybe. I don't know. Never had a dragon.
They're very tiny babies. I don't know about that.
You read this book? Do they talk about the hatching of dragons and how it works?
They don't talk about the nests or anything in the book.
Oh, okay.
They talk about like putting them in the cribs with the babies and heating them over fires and stuff like that. They don't talk about what Damon did to hammer the eggs out and all that.
Is Cyrax gonna be like angry about that?
That's a good question.
Gonna come back like, where the fuck are my babies?
I mean, in Martin's universe,
Damon's just like, I don't know. I haven't seen him. That's weird.
with that smile on his face.
If I catch the asshole, you can burn him.
At least these new babies aren't a question if they're illegitimate. That's true. They have that Targaryen hair. Yeah.
And after the show that Damon put on protecting his stepchildren, God forbid if anyone questions the legitimacy of his own children.
Right?
Well, I think it was more because he called her a whore, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe Damon would have still killed him, but
I think
definitely would have pushed him over the edge.
I think he would have killed him.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah. And don't forget that the Valerian daughters are also Damon's children.
Yeah.
Damon has a lot of children.
Damon, the Genghis Khan of fucking Westeros.
Yep. Just having babies everywhere. Huh.
Crazy after what happened to his first wife. Who knows how many bastards he has. Because, I mean, we saw in the first episode, maybe the second one, he likes to frequent the whorehouses back in the day.
That's true.
The brothels.
That's true. But so does everyone else, I feel like.
I mean, would have been.
The wife comment was too far for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did call her a whore in front of everybody.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Couldn't let that slide.
No, you can't let that go. That's not cool. Not cool.
Would have been cool to see Viserys just go down there and rip out his tongue, though. Hold on, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Wonder if that was Balerion on his cane, the little carved dragon head. Was it Balerion?
I'm pretty sure.
Does he miss his dragon boy?
Wonder if his cane is made of Valyrian steel. Reminded me of Jon Snow's sword.
Yeah,
The carved
with the
wolf head.
yeah, definitely. I also like the little touch of the model of Valyria being covered in cobwebs and stuff. Also, some imagery. You know, we're leaving behind tradition.
Mm-hmm.
We're going way off in another direction here.
You know what scene will definitely stir up some emotions is if after the king dies, they have a scene where like the new king's guard comes in and just like smashes that and throws it out the window or something like that.
I'll be upset.
Right?
I'll be upset about that.
Because it's not there in Game of Thrones. Something has to happen to it.
Yeah, what happens to the model of Valyria? It's definitely not there.
Mm.
Maybe it's down in the basement with Balerion's head.
Maybe.
Or maybe Robert smashed it with his hammer.
Or maybe they, like, I don't know. Maybe they shipped it off somewhere.
It was a crazy decapitation, and then they just showed his tongue and the slicing. It was so clean, too. Look what Valyrian steel does. That was a clean slice. Dark Sister. Very sharp. Very sharp, right, Lola? Yeah, interesting episode. Not the best in the series, but definitely way better than any Rings of Power episode.
Especially better than the last episode.
Oh my god, the last episode was so bad.
Rings of Fire was on a steady, like, awful trend, and then it had a little bit of an uptick. Like, oh, we got some action, things are getting a little bit better. Maybe we're going uphill from here. And no, they're like, ooh, Floor, I've missed you. Smash.
I was excited when everything that the Harfoots owned caught on fire. That's saying something. I'm just saying. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was a lot more I could have talked about with this episode, but we have also been talking for about an hour.
That's true. I don't know about you, but I'm sleepy.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired.
I think we covered everything in this episode. Was there anything we missed? I don't want to leave anything unsaid either.
I don't know. I feel like there probably is. There's probably points that I could have made, but
I think from like cinematic perspective, this episode was like gold star. Grade A.
Yeah.
Like there was so much imagery, the shots, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Everything was done to perfection.
The green, the black, the coloring, the scenery.
That's something I want to say. Did anyone else think that they redid the Iron Throne in this one? Did it look bigger? It looked like it had more steps, more swords. It was just all around like more bigger. Overdone. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked bigger. Maybe it was just the lighting and the angle. I don't know. But yeah, it did look like it was bigger.
If it had more swords, I probably wouldn't have noticed. But it looked like you had more steps. Before there was like the 4 steps going right up. And now there's like 3 or 4 more on the bottom. I don't know. Again, I might have just forgotten.
Yeah, we haven't. It looked bigger. Yeah, I don't know.
It was definitely bigger. Okay, so I wasn't the only one who noticed it.
So, yeah, you weren't the only
Yeah.
one who looked at it and thought, does this look different?
Which is fine, except all those swords are supposed to be melted there with dragon fire. And since
By Aegon.
by Aegon, so
Oh,
it should all
yeah.
be there. And let's say Viserys wanted to do some, interior decorating and add a few more. He doesn't have a dragon.
Yeah, he's got to get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who did it? I guess they have Vhagar.
They do have Vhagar now. Although, how's Vhagar gonna do that?
Stick her head in the window. Just
Yeah, just Desi says that they still haven't watched Rings of Power, and every time that we bring it up, they don't want to watch it anymore.
You're not missing a lot. Like, she's read the Silmarillion and she hates it. I haven't read it, and I don't like it. Like, it's not even from a lore and canon perspective that it's bad. It's just bad. The writing's bad. The cinematography's
They've destroyed.
Okay, sometimes.
They've destroyed the Númenóreans.
Yeah,
They've ruined the Númenóreans. So
it looks very amateurish.
I was watching a review of it, and I think somebody made a good point. Lore people, Tolkien people, people who've read everything, and I haven't even read everything. There's other books that I haven't read. But people who've read everything,
oh yeah, that
they lost those people in like the first 2 episodes. Those people not into it. And then the people who are kind of into it, watch the movies, they're into the Númenóreans, lost those people. And that now that we're into episode 7, now the casual viewer is being lost because the story is just bad.
Yeah.
And the characters are just bad.
Look, if you want to rewrite a story, go for it. But make sure it's, number one, you better do a great job at that story. And number 2, just make the story sensible.
Well, they pretty much said, like, oh, we don't need the rights to the Silmarillion. Everything we have the rights to is good enough. We'll write a good enough story. You'll write a good enough story based in Tolkien's universe without the rights to everything that... Like, you think you can just make some shit up?
The story's poorly written and the cinematography is amateurish at best.
Yeah.
Like, they're making some simple mistakes that you should not be making.
Dan says the cinematography is like bad 90s sci-fi. And his mom watches all kinds of stuff that he thinks is bad, but she likes. And she doesn't like Rings of Power.
Yeah.
It's because it's bad.
It's a really bad show.
It's just terrible. But that being said, House of the Dragon is a good show. And continues to be a good show. This was just not the favorite episode, but it was still a good episode.
So, I mean, like I was saying, when I say this episode didn't do it for me, it's not that it was bad. It just didn't live up to the expectations that was set by previous episodes.
Well, we had such a banger last time.
Yeah, that's true.
No, House of the Dragon is not... No, House of the Dragon is a good show, Dan. It is. Well, I'm sorry your mom doesn't like it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think my mom likes Game of Thrones either.
My mom wouldn't watch Game of Thrones. And she probably wouldn't watch House of the Dragon, even though I think there would be some things about it that she would really like. Yeah. Desi is like, House of the Dragon is great because it's good, Dan. It's good. It is good.
Oh, your mom loved Game of Thrones?
I
I don't know.
like the first like 3 seasons are good. Yeah, the first 3 are good.
Yeah, the first 3.
4 is when it starts. 4 is when it starts to just kind of
Fall off a cliff, face first.
Yeah.
Swan dive, stick in the landing.
And then the Dorne plot happened, and we all know what happened after that. The Witcher is a good show.
I can't wait for season 3 of The Witcher.
I know.
I love The Witcher so much. It's so great. The fact that the show has done the book and the games justice. So happy.
You have people who are really passionate about it, working on it, who know the lore and respect it.
I know, I think the fact that Henry Cavill is like a huge Witcher fan definitely helped.
Yeah, for sure. Tyrion's trial is meh for you? I think it's because they changed things. That was what annoyed me about Tyrion's trial.
I mean,
that they changed things. Not the trial itself.
There were good parts, don't get me wrong.
They changed things, I think was what bugged me about it. Not the trial itself, but like how he kills Tywin is just so much better in the books.
Yeah, it is.
Season 4 had good moments, but it just wasn't as solid as seasons 1 through 3, because season 4 was when they started to change shit.
I feel like if you didn't read the books, you could probably still appreciate the seasons. Maybe, I think people said like 5 or 6 started getting a little bland. But if you read the books first, they just cut out so much and changed the story so much after 3.
Yeah.
It
gets hard.
It was hard to pay attention.
They said they're on book 4, which they're struggling with. That's the book that everyone struggles with, I feel like.
It's awful. You're gonna struggle. Just stick with it.
We've through it. Been there. Get through it. Book 4 was the hardest one for me to read too.
Because it's all the characters you don't care about.
Yeah, it's all the characters that no one likes.
Well, there's like 2 or 3 good characters.
There are.
You're just begging for a Cersei chapter and an Arya chapter that whole time you're reading it.
Yeah, you're just waiting for certain characters. No Jon Snow, Tyrion, or Dany. Yep. Because that's why you got to get through the 4th book to get to the 5th book. And then you get to the 5th book and you get Jon Snow and Tyrion and Dany and everyone you missed from last time. Yeah. Although...
so it's not too confusing.
Is Jaime in 5 or 4?
Don't remember. So it doesn't get too confusing. I think Jaime's in 5, but I think you have Brienne in 4, who is with Jaime.
Right.
So 4 is all those characters and their time from this to that period. I can't remember the years.
Yeah.
And then book 5, the first half of the book actually like overlaps the 4th book and is the characters that we missed in the 4th book and what they were doing during that time.
Yep.
And then halfway through the 5th book, everything just syncs up again and then we're off. Because it was supposed to be one book, but basically Martin's editors were like, we're not putting out a 2,500 page book. I'm not doing it.
Yep. Oh, so they're saying Jaime is in book 4.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so yeah, the Jaime chapters are good. The Cersei chapters are good. Everyone else is like, oh, It's a book full of Sansa. That's great. It's everything I wanted. Sansa chapters.
And Sansa doesn't start getting good until book 5.
I know! But stick with it. Get through it. And then you get to book 5, and it's like,
And then you're right there with the rest of us.
Yeah.
Just sitting here, waiting.
And waiting.
And waiting for Winds of Winter.
After that teaser Euron chapter,
I haven't listened to it because I knew it wasn't coming. It wasn't going to happen.
well, it's not from Euron's perspective, but it's from Aaron's perspective. Aaron's perspective.
God damn it, Aaron!
Aaron Dampere. And it was so good, and I'm just like, if this is the kind of content I can expect from Winds of Winter, God damn it, George, please finish. Because if you thought Game of Thrones was dark, dear Jesus, you don't know how dark it gets. Oh my God.
Just wait till A Dream of Spring.
Well, things should get better, hopefully, by the end of that book.
I don't know. I feel like Winds of Winter is going to end on a huge cliffhanger.
Probably.
And Dream of Spring is going to be like the grand conclusion. But I think it's only going to build in Winds of Winter. I don't think we're going to get any conclusion, any satisfaction.
No, I think it's
just going to make the wait for A Dream of Spring
that much worse.
that much worse.
I think based on what Martin has said, Winds of Winter is the darkest book.
Nice.
It's the darkest book. It's like the Dark Night of the Soul for everyone. It's when shit really just gets terrible.
Well, winter's here. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like this book is going to be, oh God, Jesus. Oh, the horror. The horror. Everyone's going to die.
Me too. I'm just like...
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if Martin was on life support, there would be a GoFundMe that would be making millions of dollars a day from his fans, just like keep him alive until he finishes.
just
I don't care how long it takes.
Pray to Shakespeare and Homer.
He will be the first man to have his brain implanted in a robot.
just to finish.
Just to finish.
Dream of Spring. Just need to know the ending of A Song of Ice and Fire. God damn it. Yeah, look at Dez is like, yeah, I'll pay money. I will pay money. Finish that fucking shit.
I probably would too.
Right? Meanwhile,
wouldn't it be great if Martin just came out and dropped both books at the same time?
Oh my God.
Just like, it's finished. Don't talk to me again.
I would have to be calling up and just say, look, the ruse will be fine for 2 weeks, right? The ruse will be okay.
You act like I wouldn't just blaze through those in like 2 or 3 days. Sleep? What's sleep?
Rather pay for Martin to finish the series than pay for a kangaroo farm.
Yes.
15 years later, here they are. I'm retiring. Good thing. Good effing bye. I mean, seriously though, yeah, that he's in the clear. He will stop being annoyed by everyone.
Right?
Just drop them both at once, man. Let it.
Just drop them. Take the money you earn, buy your own private island, and get away from everyone for the rest of your life.
Yep, and don't ever look at anything to see what anybody thinks about how it ended. Just live in bliss.
Tropical island, never has to deal with anything relating to winter ever again.
Yep. No Starks, no nothing.
Man's gonna be traumatized. So, I hear we're getting a pretty bad storm this winter. What'd you say?
I said winter is
Don't you say that W word.
I said winter is coming. But anyway,
The problem with he is writing the histories because he does not know what the fuck he is going to do with the story. I am convinced he does not know how to end it. He does not know where he's going with it. So he's writing this history and dropping that dagger in the Song of Ice and Fire in there so that it can make sense later on when Arya stabs the Night King with the dagger.
no.
Even though it should be John's.
It should.
John's.
You are.
People saw this show. Anyways.
We know who the prince that was promised is. I know. We know. It's not Arya. We know that.
Yeah. That's not canon. But anyways, he's trying to write all the history, so all the stuff he wants to do later makes sense because it doesn't.
Because it's
Yeah, he does. I remember an interview with him, and he said, like, his whole writing style is like the exact opposite of Stephen King. He only writes when he feels like writing. Like, he never just sits down. He's like, some days I'll sit down and I'll write one sentence. Other days I'll sit down and I'll write 2 chapters.
Yep.
It's just like, some days I just don't feel like writing.
Like it. Yeah. Then you have J.K. Rowling, who meticulously planned out the entire series before she even wrote anything down.
Well, Martin did, but then he changed his mind.
I think Rowling is too OCD for that.
Maybe.
Because everything is in such tight parallel and ring and everything else.
Martin had everything laid out, and then he was like,
what if I did this?
Wait.
What if I just did this? What if this happened next?
No, this would be cool.
Yeah. Yep. He planted a garden. Right? He's a gardener. Well, now you got fucking flowers everywhere. And none of it makes sense. And you got weeds growing, and you need to add more mulch. And terrible. The kangaroos came in and ate your roses. Swear if Brandon is actually king, I'm going to be mad. I'm not a Bran fan, but having a hard time separating TV brand from book brand.
I don't really hate that he ended up there, but I hate what they kind of did to his character.
Yeah, I do too.
Not so much as how much I hated what they did with Arya's character. Arya's character
was assassinated.
I was so angry with.
Yeah, they destroyed Arya. Big time. Bran just became a robot.
Yeah. I'm really not mad about where anyone ended up, but
how they got there.
Yeah.
What happened to get
the characters themselves I was angry with and how they were portrayed. Except Sansa. Sansa was badass, honestly, by the end.
Miz, I change faces and only do it the one time and then never again. Arya was ruined. Are you kidding me?
So, can't really say it without ruining the books at all.
I know it spoils. It spoils if we talk about it, and they have not finished the books, so it's hard to.
Because what happens with Arya's story, you'll see at the end of book 5 with Arya, and why it kind of ruins it the way that Arya kind of becomes the end.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
If it was something that was just a theory, and I would say it, but it
actually happens in the book. Yeah. So it's a spoiler. I'm sorry. Maybe we can answer this another time, Dan. When there are people who have read all the books. Yeah, we gotta.
I gotta get some sleep.
Yes, and yes. Bravos was stupid. It sucked.
Yeah.
All of it sucked.
Much more interesting in the book.
And makes a lot more sense in the book.
All right. So you all have a great night.
Yes. Enjoy your evening.
We will see you Thursday.
Yep, see y'all Thursday.